kind of crazy.
The esports has gone up like a rocket, boom, straight up. And the money that's coming in now is insane.
Six-figure salary in the spotlight, on stage, and some of them are just wholly unprepared.
This chair is $1,600.
$1,600?
Yeah, for this chair.
I'm living a dream for a lot of people, but yeah, sometimes it sucks because of all these drawbacks.
You guys have to rush! You guys have to rush!
So there's this badge of honor in esports that I grind. I play hour upon hour upon hour upon hour. I put in, if I grind more, I'm going to get better.
If I play for too long, I'll get pain at the end of the day.
Too long meaning how many hours?
Like 8 hours.
If he can be successful playing video games, wanted to pursue this, I would be very supportive of it.
Got him, honey. Gotta have more confidence.
Everyone knows there's burnout in this.
Depression, anxiety. There's a lot of pressure to do that kind of extra work. I love this industry, but somebody has to talk about what's wrong with it.
I usually wake up to warm up and just to see how good I'm doing, like mentally and physically, and if I'm prepared to play for 6 to 7 hours a day. I get really lost in Overwatch sometimes. My life is kind of esports in general. My whole life is just waking up and grinding.
INDY HALPERN is a rising star in the esports world. He was recruited straight out of high school to play the game Overwatch for a professional team, the LA Valiant. INDY's fans know him as Space, the alias he uses in competition.
This was probably one of my first pieces of fan art that anybody ever gave to me. 2 fans that have been LA Valiant fans for a long time and always supported me even when I was like kind of unknown and on the bench. They gave me this. This is pretty meaningful to me.
When is the last day, like a full 24 hours, that you did not touch Overwatch?
The last day I didn't touch Overwatch was Sunday.
Oh, so pretty recently.
Yeah, when we were moving, actually. So I couldn't play Overwatch that day.
INDY's contract includes a salary and perks like this spacious apartment, bankrolled by what has become a nearly $1 billion industry.
This is the line to get merchandise. It is the longest line I've seen in here.
What is your profession?
Esports has a huge fan base that pack arenas to watch their favorite players go head to head. It's become a business that pioneers of competitive gaming could not have imagined only decades ago.
Yes! At least if I get one hit in, I'm happy.
As far back as the late 70s, early 80s, sort of this idea of, hey, these video games that are there for fun and entertainment, there's people out there that are real good. Well, how do you prove you're the best in the world? The only way that's gonna happen is if the best players in the world get together. So someone had the idea, right? Let's put a prize pool on this. I would say that one of the most notable early examples of this is actually with Quake, where John Carmack, the developer of the game, said, I'm going to put up my personal Ferrari as the prize to the best Quake player that we can find.
And I remember realizing that I was gonna win, and I actually noticed the reflection of the Ferrari in my monitor in those last few seconds, and I got really nervous.
After his 1997 victory, Dennis Fong was recognized in the Guinness Book of Records as the world's first professional gamer.
When you became the first esports star, as you say, it was almost accidental. It was the right place at the right time. As far as you see it, how has the industry evolved just in the past few decades?
I mean, it's evolved a ton, obviously. When I first started, you know, you're talking about having hundreds of spectators in a room, which was a lot back then. Now you're talking about tens of thousands of spectators, you know, equivalent to, you know, real sports.
This is what people are interested in, and around the world for that matter.
Steve Cohen is Chief Strategy Officer for AEG, the largest sports ownership group in the world. AEG's portfolio of over 43 professional sports teams boasts several successful esports teams as well, including INDY's team, the LA Valiant.
How do you measure the size of the esports market? How big is it?
900 million to $1 billion for this year, and expected to go to at least 50% over that by 2020. Here at Staples, we sold out a tournament in less than 15 minutes. You've got public companies like Activision Blizzard or EA Sports. These are multi-billion-dollar companies. You start adding all of the values of those companies together, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars right there.
Esports is dominated by teenagers and men in their 20s. YILIANG PENG, who goes by Doublelift, is a veteran superstar of his game, League of Legends, at just 25 years old.
The first pro player I've ever known of was just Doublelift.
Like what he stands for, how he approaches the game, I think is a really intelligent way of going about it. So I just wanted to support him.
You can find a way. You lean on each other, you lean on your experience, and you believe that there's a way. So take a deep breath and strengthen that idea in your mind that you have so that you're decisive, even when it's hard.
Top players like Peng train in state-of-the-art facilities with luxuries other pro athletes have had for years.
Yeah, honestly, it looks so sick, right? It looks so good. This is One Up Studios, which does all of production, videos, photos. We have war rooms, which are like mini meeting rooms.
Humble guy over here didn't mention that there's a mural of your team.
Yeah.
Your face and your head featured prominently.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I sometimes forget that that's the case. It's just pretty cool to have my face just like on the wall. Yeah, this is our kitchen where we eat every day. Manny cooks 2 meals a day. This is the guy that carries our team. Honestly, Manny carries our team. No one appreciates it, but we like sustain ourselves off Manny's cooking, so.
What are the dietary restrictions of this guy? What are his kind of...
Make it good.
That's it?
Make it hot.
Yeah, dude, we love Manny. Everyone loves Manny.
I'm here for them, honestly.
Everyone loves Manny.
I may know how to cook, but it's not that makes me, it's what makes them. It's what they need to make them better.
Later on it could be #1, but right now we just want to get secure top 4.
You know, when esports first started, there was no sports stuff at all. It was just 5 guys who just loved playing games, and like I was a part of that. Where like there was no manager, there was no coach. It was just like 5 players on a team. And now I think like it just gotten to the point where there's just so much eyes on the scene. There's so much money. There's so much like partnerships, opportunities to make money or to like collaborate with others. You know, it's like a fully fledged business.
Peng's net worth is estimated to be over $1 million, and he has 1 million followers on Twitch, an online gaming platform where users watch others play.
League is a highly competitive game. There are casual players that only play for fun, but League is a game where you can really find a lot of self-improvement every time that you play. Like, initially, I just loved it as a player, and now I love it as a professional. I won't have to worry about money for a while, and I'm really grateful for that.
As fortunes rise for top esports players, many parents that might have once discouraged their kids from spending hours playing video games are now cheering them on.
Which guy is yours?
He's up there in the second seat on the right.
You're all here as a family.
Yeah, because I enjoy it. I can relate, right?
Like many parents at this local esports competition, Hui Dang Vu is eager for his son Connor to excel as a gamer.
I'm not in the video game industry. I have a finance background. Being online has the same social dynamics as any other team sport. If he can be successful playing video games, he wanted to pursue this, I would be very supportive of it.
Who's hungry?
I'm hungry. Since Connor loves gaming so much, I actually looked up online what the average salary for a pro player is, and I think it's around 60,000 or something. I feel like the skills that he's learning will go, even beyond the gaming world.
Oh! You wrecked him. You got him, honey. Gotta have more confidence. Oh yeah, you're way faster than him. You're a master at Genji.
No, stop.
All right.
Oh, no.
I can't handle the stress. Maybe the piano lessons, all the traditional things that maybe I even did with my oldest child. Maybe it's time for us as a different generation to look at things through their eyes. Hey Connor, you just got this text from your teacher. Good luck, Connor, today in the 1v1. Last night, one of our players who won the Fortnite tournament was offered a scholarship.
Wow, that's impressive.
Are you now wanting him to be much better at these games and improve skills?
That is kind of where I'm going now, like understanding that there's like clubs and leagues and things like that, and that maybe there's even support in the college environment for this, that there's scholarships available. So let's see where it goes. Did you just win?
Yes.
You won the tournament?
Yeah, play of the game right here. This is how he won right here. Pretty epic win right here.
Elite teenage players are now getting access to the same resources as conventional athletes. Colleges have launched competitive esports leagues, and over 100 high schools have developed dedicated esports programs as part of a recently created North American Scholastic Esports Federation. Here at one of the 56 high schools in Southern California with an esports program, gamers that a decade ago may have been socially isolated are now training in groups and eyeing a growing array of careers in the industry.
What do you say to the people who have no clue about what esports are or how big they are globally?
I think simply this is a new world.
There's so many subsidiaries that go into the esports and the gaming industry as a whole. There's the IT directors, there's the marketers, there's the coaches, there's a whole community that's involved, and it's not just people who play the games.
What is the biggest misconception about gamers like yourselves?
They're just a bunch of nerds or something like that. I know a lot of people out there have, like, I've heard just around saying like, oh, it's just like the gamer club or like Fortnite, blah, 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 but the truth is it's like a lot of people have stated already, it's a really big team sport.
I want to work in video game design. Like, I know USC has a great video game design program there.
With this club, with the help of this club, I've developed a love for computer science and programming. So I'm starting to look at, hopefully I can get accepted into University of California, Irvine, because I know they have a really good esports program.
But for the elite few who have their sights set on the arena, the road to stardom can take a heavy toll.
You guys have to rush. You guys have to rush. Yeah. Let's go fast. Push tank. We don't need them.
This is a typical day for Indy and his team at the LA Valiant Training Center. Practice, game review, and more practice.
Let's go.
But like fighting every single time, whenever we have the chance, and try to win every single time is probably not the best way to do it. We keep using the Zarya bubbles on Fate every single time.
People are just worked so unbelievably hard because it's a 24-hour industry, too much money. They very often lose sight that players are people.
In his years of covering the issues that plague the esports scene, journalist Richard Lewis has seen the long hours lead to immense pressure on the players.
A 12-hour, 14-hour day is not uncommon, and they do this at least 6 days a week, very often 7, which is why we have all these like terrible issues with burnout and players kind of getting ground up by 24, you know.
Indy has earned a reputation for working long hours, and at 18 years old, he's starting to get injuries more common to people at least twice his age.
The last time we taught, there was your lower back, way before that, and then your wrist, and then you had thumb stuff. So what about your wrist? So we had kind of both sides, really, right?
Yeah.
So the front side, you had kind of that sharp burning pain that you messaged me about. Has that come back recently?
No, it's just been like, if I play for too long, I'll get pain at the end of the day.
Wrist injuries have become prevalent in esports and can end careers before they get started. But for many players, mental health issues are as much a concern as the physical.
You know, back when I used to play in middle school or in high school, there wasn't that much stress because we're not competing that hard. But when I went into esports, it's a whole different level of stress. When you're playing against professionals, it's always in the back of your mind, basically. Just you always have that pressure on your shoulders that you have to perform and you have to do really well so that you can win and take everything home.
They're going good. Because you have to remember, a lot of these guys live in the same house. They live in a gaming house, right? Where, you know, the team literally lives together, eats together, breathes together, trains together, and there's intense pressure not to get a girlfriend. Yeah, if you're in a house of 6, 7 guys and everybody else is deep in their training, you're just gonna bounce for a weekend. You know, I think there's just kind of that social pressure, even if it's unsaid or unwritten.
Hey, real quick, before you eat, the most important thing to do is to activate yourself earlier in the morning.
Some teams, like INDYs, have hired team psychologists to help players deal with the stress.
There's stereotypes that go along with the sport of, I grind, I play hour upon hour upon hour upon hour, I put in 12-hour days, and so there's this badge of honor in esports that if I grind more, I'm going to get better. Their brains are constantly churning, you can see the stress in their face and in their eyes, and so what we're trying to do is avoid that burnout, avoid that 2-year career that the player plays and makes a decent amount of money for those 2 years, but then goes from that to nothing.
It seems as though the lifespan for esports athletes is brief. Is that accurate in your view? Is there anything to be done about that?
I don't know if there's a real answer to that yet. I think it's too early days. You know, remember that this is just the first generations coming up.
The unknowns seem to be the biggest hurdle in plotting a plan ahead. What are some of the other challenges over the next half decade?
I think we're prepared to scale up fairly quickly, and I think there are a lot of other people in the ecosphere that are prepared to scale up quickly as well. I think the danger comes when you don't do it in a responsible and sustainable way. And I get worried about hot money just screwing this up. That's what I worry about.
The money that's coming in now is insane, and people don't want to miss out on getting their slice of that.
When you look at something like football, American football, you've got the NFL, you've got the teams, you've got the players, and the players have their agents. For esports, which entity has the real and true power?
It's the developers. They make the game, and a game is viewed as intellectual property. There's no player association, there's no unions, nobody's looking out for you. I've heard players speak out against the NFL, and they don't have to worry about never playing ball again. You don't have those options in esports. The developer owns the football.
In addition to his grueling schedule for the LA Valiant, INDY was tapped to play on Team USA in a global tournament, the Overwatch World Cup.
Some noise if you're ready for some Overwatch tonight.
How are you feeling at this moment?
I'm nervous to play in front of this crowd, for sure.
Some interesting things you were posting about a couple days ago.
Getting brand new shoes from Nike just because you're you. What was that like?
It was amazing. I never thought I would ever get a pair of shoes from Nike. To actually be here and play today is like a dream come true. So.
This squad needs no introduction. Please show some love for you. I think we know who the hometown crowd is cheering for, Zoe.
Oh, and all the gameplay takes place here, center stage.
20 seconds to game. Stand by the flash to game.
They know it's finally the time to see the Americans on top of the podium.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flash.
Henry finds yet another one. Support seems to be his diet of choice right now, and he's eating like a king. Across the points, Mex will be desuited. Kim has to commit himself to the point, but he's on his own.
Release your score and score.
Now the drop down will be from Fusion He switched over to Wrecking Ball. A lot of health, a lot of mobility, but it's going to be tough for him to retake control of the point, and as soon as he leaves it, that one is done.
By the end of the first game, the US team was winning. But this is a best-of-5 elimination match.
Things turn around quickly. The UK is ahead, and it seems like Team USA is about to lose.
If there was any time, it was right there! And the United Kingdom complete the upset we never thought we'd see! It's game one, and the USA are out of the Overwatch World.
Will definitely be held aloft now. So much expectation on this USA roster, so much raw talent.
For the billions of gamers across the globe, the rise of esports is a hard-fought dream come true.
I've always been someone who goes out and says, like, yeah, sometimes it sucks because of all these drawbacks, but at the end of the day, it's definitely worth it, and I'm living a dream for a lot of people.
Where is that determination to be the best coming from?
I don't know, I'm just getting started.
Just getting started.
But fortune and glory comes at a cost that is still not fully known.
We're the guinea pigs of this new sort of phase of sports that's gonna go across the entire nation eventually. It's kind of fun to be sitting in the driver's seat.
In esports, you can literally jump from being in a bedroom into being a six-figure salary, in the spotlight, on stage, 3 months later, and some of them are just wholly unprepared.
I don't think I'm being unduly conservative in saying there's something here that matters, and you can really screw it up.
I love this business, I love this industry, but somebody has to talk about what's wrong with it.
I took them with me. So yes, the match days shoes. This is, I'll probably, as time goes on, just start collecting more shoes or whatever else I'm interested in.
Like hopefully that's the beginning of your collection right there, right?
Yeah. It's my job and it's my life, so it's a profession and it's how I make money. So I have to put my 110 into this at all times. You know, I'm not just playing a game for fun anymore.